to do a review of a course called Old Stonewall in Ellwood City, Pennsylvania. So I tested this course out as a test on several levels. First was it's a 5.5 hour drive from DC to Pittsburgh. So it's not like I'm not familiar with the trip to Pittsburgh from DC. I left early, 6:30 to go up there, got there in Ellwood City where the course is at about 12:15. Number one, it's a 5.5 hour drive up there from DC at best. Number two, it's $120 for that course to play on Saturday, and it's $90 for Twilight, and Twilight starts at 3 o'clock. So I got there at 1:30, paid $120. Twilight started at 3 o'clock and was $90. Number three, the difference in elevation and peril and drop-offs on the side of the fairway and so forth and so on the front side compared to the back is quite significant. On the back side, there is almost no water in play. On the front side, there's a fair amount of water in play. But on the front side, you just don't have these crevasses and so forth that you're crossing over, or these highly elevated tees that you're playing from like you do on the back. However, to me, in my opinion, it doesn't matter much whether the ball goes down a 100-foot crevasse or whether it goes into the water in a lake. Okay? That's one thing. Second thing is, it's not like the backside had no elevation changes. It certainly did. They just weren't as extreme as some of the holes on the backside. And then also, that was only the case on some of the holes on the backside. A lot of the holes on the backside were actually fairly straightforward holes, which you really only had to watch out for, again, hitting the ball off the sides or behind the green and down a crevasse. So it wasn't like the backside was just orders of magnitude more difficult than the front, and it wasn't like the front was super easy. But what did really, I think, stand out, and I definitely would say this, for a course that much, that costs that much, and a course that's that far away, you don't want to short yourself and play from the white tees. Let me just leave it at that point, okay? The course has gray, black, white, gold, and red. I think it has 6 different tees. If you look on the National Course Rating Database sheet that I put up there, it has like 6 tees. It's slope 149, its bogey rating 101, which is really high bogey rating. The slope is up there, I would say, in probably the top 10% of courses in the country, between 145 and 155. You don't want to play this course. You definitely don't want to drive all the way up to play this course and play from the white tees. I played from the white tees with a group of 3 other people who wanted to play from the white tees, and I regretted it. At the very least, I wish I'd played the black tees, which would have been 1 tee in front of the gray tees, and I think that would have been enough of a step back for the one time I was going to play it. I think it would have been a really good challenge and experience to play from the gray tees, and I reaffirmed my opinion. I will be very serious about this. It's not worth playing from the white tees when you can play from the blacks. It's definitely not worth playing from the forward tees when you can play from the back tees. And especially on an expensive course that you are almost certainly never to play again, why play the forward tees and not play the back tees? I will leave it right there alone. Now, having that out of the equation, I didn't like the 18th hole because the green for the 18th is about 50 feet from the clubhouse deck on the back of the clubhouse. The whole time you're looking into that deck, you're really not focusing on your game as much as you're focusing on the deck and what's going on there, and also the possibility of hitting the ball into that deck by mistake. Not a good hole. Fair number of holes on the front side were really not worth talking about much at all. Certainly number, I believe it's number 8, the par 3 that's next to the little mini castle. before you get to the little refreshment stand. It's also a castle. I certainly would not consider that to be a hole that's worth in any way traveling any distance. Okay, much less as one hole on a $120 course. The other par threes were okay, not too bad. The one over the next to the lake on the left side was cute, interesting, certainly a challenge. There's the par three that's after the par four that's next to the lake. But I think still, overall, I still would rather have played it from the gray tees and just, taking my chances. Might have put some balls in the water, but, it's along the once in a lifetime kind of thing. If you're going to do it right. So the back side of the course, yes, it had some solid elevation changes. Yes, there were some perilous shots in terms of an abundance of waste, an abundance of woods, an abundance of drop off, that kind of thing. But again, it's not like you stop playing golf, and start cliff diving or rappelling up the side of a mountain. It's not like that much different, So people, I don't think that losing your shirt over it is that something that's really called for here in this situation. It's still golf. You're still playing a game of golf. You don't want the ball to go in the woods. You don't want the ball to go into the water, and it's very much the same. So while the shots were maybe from an elevated tee down to a green, it's not like I've never played that before. Same thing with a low green up to a low tee box up to an elevated green. Not like I've never played that before. So really, it's the same kind of thing. You just need you need to be somewhat more careful, but that doesn't mean it's 20 times as hard. It's not like you have to go back there with a 3-wood and play it, and it's not like you have to go back there and play it with a pitching wedge. So it's not like it's super different from playing regular golf. You just have to pick a shot you think you can make and, try to make it. If you miss it, you go get a ball out of your bag, drop it, and take another shot. Life goes on. So I wasn't, flustered or impressed by the fact that it had all these elevated changes and drop-offs and so forth and so on. Again, does that make the course worth $120? No. I will say that if you compare that course to the course across the street, if you look on any of the maps that I put up earlier, you can see that there is another 18-hole course right across the street. And that course looked really shabby to me when I drove past it. There's a hole that comes up to the road on one side, and the other course is the old Stonewall is on the other side next to the big stone parapet that you can see there. That course looked really pretty shabby to me, and I would definitely have been disappointed. I was kind of disappointed for a second when I thought that might have been the course, but it wasn't. And I hate to ask how much they charge for that course, considering there's a $120 course right across the street, 18-hole course. They probably think they can get away with charging $60, $70 for that other course. And no, I don't think that even Old Stonewall was worth more than $75. Okay, there's no way that I would think that course was worth $120. And certainly, if you do play that course just to play it and pay that $120 course, you're probably not going to pay that kind of money to play it again. I don't understand anyone who's a member of that course who will, say, well, I'm going to join this course to save $120 per round, because they're still going to charge you, $1,500, $2,500 or something as a member. Even if the cost per round is still going to be lower, there's still going to be an initiation fee. I mean, I don't think that I've ever seen a course that doesn't charge at least $750 for membership. Usually it's more than that, much more than that. It's $1,500 to $2,500 the membership, and then there's the initiation fee on top of that. So I can't say that this course is a value. What I can say is, probably considering where it is out in western Pennsylvania, Beaver Run or something area. I mean, it's a nice drive past northern Pittsburgh out there. There's some nice looking areas and so forth that you see from 76. But where the course is not one of those areas. It's more like a throwback kind of town. It's being revitalized, and it's not anything more than farmland, in that part of town, that part of the state, right there around Ellwood City. There are a lot of steel mills or steel factories and that kind of thing. Not steel mills, but factories anyway, that are dilapidated and so forth. And it's not like a really nice part of the state or something that would impress someone to think that it's worth $120. It may be one of the more successful endeavors in that area that I could tell, which may do something like that. But no, in general, no, it's not. In any case, it's a decent course. I will say that compared to Omni Bedford Springs, it is a significantly better course with significantly more variety and certainly a more picturesque layout, certainly more challenging holes. But at the same time, at least Omni Bedford Springs was a fairly consistent course, and it did have some decent holes on that course. I didn't really get into that one hole that's a par 3 where you're playing over that, 50-foot divot, ravine, and there's a big house right behind the green, which if you look at the top 100 courses.com website, the one picture they show in there shows you the view from the house, not the view from the tee box. And it's a big difference if you look at it from the tee box. But overall, I think it was a decent trip. Had its scary moments, had its thrill in the trip in and of itself that I would not care to repeat, although I've been in that situation, several times on that drive. I think that I will give the course a B+, and I think that it deserves a B+, but not anything more than that, and the price undercuts that. I've given B+ to courses that were $35, $40, $50 a round, not more than a couple of weeks before this, and were easily at least slope 140, 145 courses. I definitely don't think any extra perceived, and it's self-evaluated on top of that, the slope rating, any extra perceived 5-point slope from the very back tees makes this course worth twice as much as some of those other courses that were 140 courses, definitely. And it was a well extended trip away from courses in Richmond, which were quite solid, quite decent courses. Unfortunately, had more houses on the course. This course really didn't have any houses on the course, but at the same time, it did have a road, the road that goes to the entrance of the course, that goes by the course on 7, 8, and 9, and there is a significant amount of road noise, as you would see on any rural road where there's one lane on each side and it's 45 miles an hour and traffic goes by the course. There's trucks and so forth going by the course at 45, 55 miles an hour. Same kind of thing. It's not like it's quiet. You're going to hear that right there, no problem. But it didn't have any houses on the majority of the course and no road noise on the majority of the course. And as such, I can definitely say that was nice, but not 120. No, the problem with this course, and it's not even like it's the only golf course in the area. There are other golf courses within a 25-mile radius of this course, certainly. But I don't know those courses. I don't know anything about those courses. I could find about them on the web. But what you see on the web is routinely going to be over selective. The best holes on the course, and the best view, and the best time of year, things like that. Of course, they're going to talk the courses up, dramatically in whatever review you see, except for mine. That's not going to happen in my reviews. And frankly, you need to know a little bit more about other courses in the area if you're going to go up there and say you're going to play another course that's not nearly as much. But I can tell you right now, without ever having gone up there before, I've played maybe 5 courses that cost over $100. in 25 years of playing golf. 2 of them were Torrey Pines. One of them was Bethpage because as an out-of-state guest, you pay twice as much as a in-state player would play for that course. It's actually relatively cheap if you're a New York resident. And one at Sandpiper in Goleta, which was $125. And I would say if I compared it to the other courses that I played that are $125, this course is nowhere near as much of a challenge or as fun to play as Bethpage, but at least Bethpage Black, but at least they let you ride a cart, which they do not at Bethpage Black. It is a 7,500-yard course that you're going to walk. Maybe you would hire a caddy, but you're going to walk it. Torrey Pines, north and south, picturesque courses out on the shore, out on the bay. Nice if you don't get rained on, and it almost always rains at Torrey Pines afternoon in the winter. It's almost guaranteed it's going to rain there. So if you're going to play, you got to play early, and it's very tough to get a tee time early. After in the winter season. And Sandpiper, I just wasn't impressed with much at all. It was a great place for people to stop, walk onto the course, and watch the sunset, though, because that sure happened the last time I was up there. I didn't play. It was just the whole parking lot was full of people. California phenomenon. People tend to just walk on the places if they're near the beach. It's like they don't even have to be a public beach or anything like that. It's like, a golf course with a parking lot that I can go and watch the view. They'll drive on the golf course, park in the parking lot, sit there for a couple hours and watch the sunset. But that course, very, pop color course, very hoity-toity, $120 course. But surprisingly, the grass was really meager in that course, and I didn't enjoy playing it. It was okay. It was just it wasn't worth $120. If you stay so, if you're going to charge that, I guess it is. This course, the course was definitely in better condition than Sandpiper. The greens were recently aerated, so not all that great. Certainly not something you'd want to play on aerated greens, and certainly you wouldn't want to pay $120 to play on aerated greens. Torrey Pines basically was in really good condition, but it's just not really all that great of a layout. There's some really good holes on Torrey Pine North that make it okay. Torrey Pine South, in my opinion, is just a flat course with very little going for it other than the history of Torrey Pines. And certainly the rough at Torrey Pines is very tough. You don't want to get caught out in that rough. But other than that, not worth playing it, not worth $120 to play it. The North course might be worth $90 to play it. Other than that, I can only talk about courses like Pebble Beach, which is $550 for the whole course. Pinehurst, $250. Tobacco Road, $250. I can certainly name courses that are over $120 to play, but I don't think this course was a $120 course for several reasons. One, because the front side was just not up to snuff. The backside was still not up to $60 for 9 holes. Just not there, not there. And it's not even considering the fact that it's not a resort of any sort. It's not like you're playing, at what am I thinking of? South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. It's not like you're playing, in the Red Rock Mountains out there in Arizona, like Sedonia, which I can't believe I passed up now. I wish I'd actually played it. I was right there standing next to it and didn't play it. There's just a lot of really nice courses in the country that I don't think cost that kind of money and provide that little extra benefit for it. So I doubt that this course is really worth $120. It's probably worth more like $75. I'm sure somebody will get on and say, landscaping costs an arm and a leg, and we do our very best. Look, I don't care what you say about the course. It's playing it that matters. Now, if you want to charge that kind of money, that's your prerogative. I'm giving my opinion about whether I think the course is worth $125 or not, and I don't see it. I just don't see that course costing that kind of money. But it was nice that it didn't have any houses on it. I have to admit that is very true. And it did offer this one hole that had a tee box that had to be 150 feet above the fairway, which, as a distinction is probably fairly unique. However, as a feature of a golf course, probably added little value to it. Just, I can name holes at Little Bennett where there's a 75-foot yard drop at least from tee box to green. It's high tees over the fairway. Interesting. Is that worth $60? No. Is it worth $40? No. It might be worth an extra $20, sure, possibly, but that's in the rest of the round, which was $60. It's noise. Honestly, it's in the noise of the value of the back nine, not to mention the entire 18. So I will think, it's Pennsylvania. There are plenty of mountains out there. There are plenty of hills out there. If you want to put a hole in the side of a mountain, it's probably not all that hard to do, So in any case, B plus course. Let's just leave it that. That's Olde with an E, OLDE, Stonewall, Edgewood City, Pennsylvania, which is perhaps 40 miles northwest of Pittsburgh, and not too far from Ohio either. Okay, it is out there.